Hi all, Stafford Knott. A story for you at this time, a belated birthday story in many ways, as well as a story to suit the times that we are going through. And this story is particularly apt in ways for this time. I hope you're all keeping well and enjoy the story. And the story comes from Donegal in the northwest of Ireland. And the story is based around Greenon Alec. And Greenon Alec is a beautiful ancient stone round fort, and it sits on top of a hill. And from that hilltop you can see all the way west to the mountains of Donegal, all the way out to the Great Atlantic. To the east you see County Derry, County Tyrone, and then as you head kind of southwest you can see County Fermanagh. It's an incredible sight from up there. And the story goes that many years ago, a great darkness descended on the land of Ireland. Where it had come from, nobody quite knew. But it came into the land and it spread wide and far into every nook and cranny, up over mountains, down valleys, down into caves, along riverbanks, and all the way out to the sea, all the way around the land. And that darkness brought destruction. It brought fear, it brought hunger, and it even brought death. And the people cowered in their homes and could not defend themselves against it. And they turned to the Druids and said, "You must do something, you have to protect the people." And they tried everything, and without any success, till eventually one of them said, "We must go to Manam Maclir, the great sea god off the coast of Donegal." And they travelled up to the shores of Lough Swilly, and they stood on the shores and they built fires, and they stood there for 3 days and 3 nights chanting and making offerings to the sea god to come and protect the people. And on the evening of the 3rd day, a flock of birds swooped down over on Greenon Alec, out over their heads and swooshed out over the waves and up along Lough Swilly and out into the Great Atlantic, past Tory Island and on. And as they had flown over the heads of the Druids, they had picked up their words and their promises and their prayers and taken them out to the sea, to Manam Maclir. And on the next morning, the sun rose way over to the east, and as it came up, the Druids were aware of a sound, a thundering, galloping sound that was coming closer and closer, and they grew fearful. And they looked out at the sea and they could see waves thundering towards the shore, and they thought they were going to be consumed by them. But they stood there mesmerized, watching them coming closer and closer. But then they noticed that the waves were growing higher and higher, but they weren't folding over and tumbling over like normal waves. No, they were coming on and on and on. And then they noticed that the waves turned into the shapes of horses, beautiful, strong, white, sinewy horses with great manes flying out behind them. And on each and every one of their backs sat a great warrior, male and female. And they came towards the shore, and they thundered onto the shore, and then they galloped and spread out to the 4 corners of the land. They ran up over mountains, down the valleys, along river banks, wide and far, into every corner, into every nook and cranny, and spread right to the whole edge of the sea. And before them the darkness ran away and was driven out of the land. And when the darkness was completely gone, the warriors turned on their white horses and they rode back up to the land of Ireland and back to Lough Swilly to return to the sea god. But as they came towards the shore, the horses started to grow nervous, and they realized that they weren't destined to return to the sea. In fact, they were destined to stay on the land. Now the warriors were confused by this, and well, they looked around and they could see the hill dominating the landscape. And they thought, we should go up there and see where we should go next. And they rode up in formation up along the hill, on top of which now sits Greenon Alec. And incredibly, as they came towards the top of the hill, it opened up. It opened up, and the warriors and the horses found themselves marching down and around and around and around, till they came to the bottom of the inside of the hill. And there they fell into an enchanted sleep, warriors and horses. The hill closed, and in time the stone fort was built. And the story is told to this day that those warriors and those horses rest there waiting to be awoken when Ireland and its people are in great need. And my question at the end of that story is, what lies within you asleep that maybe you need to awaken at this time? That's my story.